Credit isn't money. It's permission to spend someone else's, with strings attached that often turn into chains. This is a product engineered to make spending painless and debt inevitable. The cost of borrowing is a direct reflection of how risky the bank thinks you are, trapping those who can least afford it. And now that one's trapped, what happens next? Today on The Wealth Explorer, we're taking a look at credit and the mathematical trap that attempts to keep you paying for years. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and share, and remember to consult a licensed advisor when it comes to financial advice. So, what happens to your credit if you just stop paying? Better said, what happens to you? Defaulting is not simply missing a payment, but stopping for a while instead, as there's a breaking point in the accumulation of interests. The lender will be loud in stating that you have broken the contractual terms after you have failed to make payments for an extended period, typically 180 days. This is the trigger that sets off a severe and escalating chain of consequences. Your interest rate may be raised to the maximum penalty APR, and late fees will compound the debt. You are now paying punitive charges for the trouble of non-payment. Wait, wasn't the already high APR covering this? Well, of course. Despite assigning a higher interest rate to those who might have difficulties paying, in the end, penalties and extra charges will still occur. A default could be a catastrophic event on your credit report. It may remain there for several years, effectively making you radioactive. Not the cool kind, though. Most major lenders, landlords, and even employers who check credit history can't let this pass unnoticed. Who needs a social credit score under such terms? The consequences are severe and long-lasting, sometimes even after paying back a debt. This makes obtaining new credit, leasing a car or an apartment, or even securing utilities difficult and more expensive. In case the debt keeps piling up, the account is then typically transferred to a collections department, either internally or to a third-party agency, since even this debt can be considered a valuable financial product, sometimes sold for a fraction of its original value, sometimes packed up with a bunch of other defaulters, mortgages, and whatnot. Ever heard of the subprime crash of 2008? Anyway, in some cases, the lender can pursue legal action, and a successful lawsuit results in a court judgment which can lead to wage garnishment or a lien being placed on whatever patrimony of yours. So now that you know the stakes, what's next? Remember that the system seems to be designed for you to fail. So escaping starts with a psychological rebellion. The foundation of financial control relies on understanding the difference between what you could technically buy and what you can realistically afford. Beyond a temporary fix, the true goal is permanent freedom. To stop funding your past choices with every incoming paycheck, the first step isn't a complex strategy. It's a simple audit. Look at your last month's statement. Find one charge, one recurring payment, YOLO expenses, and a non-essential that you can reallocate. Anything can be used to dampen the costs of recurring debt. Besides, this is not the last time that you can subscribe and unsubscribe from Disney+. For what? New Snow White and Star Wars spin-offs? Come on, let's have some self-respect. But, Wealth Explorer, what's not essential these days? One of the hallmarks of contemporary marketing is the relentless creation of needs. As a rule, if a product is a recent introduction to daily life, its function is almost certainly a luxury, not a necessity. Anything that you crave only to boast about it online, or that makes a billionaire richer, is likely making a hole in your pocket. So, start by cutting it out of your spending habits. That is your first act of rebellion. That is you choosing to break the loop. And if you're currently in debt, you have two primary options, both requiring you to pay significantly more than the minimum. The avalanche. This is the mathematically optimal method. You list your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest. You make minimum payments on all of them, and you direct every additional dollar of your available income to the debt at the top of the list, the one costing you the most money each month. You continue until it is gone. Then you take its entire payment and attack the next one. This method minimizes the total interest you will pay. It is the fastest way to become debt-free in terms of total cost. The snowball. This is a behaviorally focused method. You list your debts from the smallest balance to the largest. You make minimum payments on all, and you direct all extra money to the smallest debt. The goal is to achieve a quick victory by completely paying off an individual account. The psychological win of closing an account provides momentum and proof of concept, making it easier to stay disciplined and attack the next, larger debt. This method can be more effective for sustaining long-term commitment, even if it may cost slightly more in interest over time. Above all, this is about the relentless, consistent application of every available resource beyond the minimum. It is the systematic reallocation of your cash flow from servicing debt to destroying it. This is how you break the loop, by refusing to participate in its terms and imposing your own. To some, spending control feels like a lack of freedom. It feels like saying no to your life. But that's the illusion talking. Debt freedom's the peace of mind that comes from knowing that your next job, your next family emergency, or your next unexpected turn won't break you. That security, whether you're employed, unemployed, a parent, or single, is the most valuable asset you will ever own. It's not just financial but mental health as well. Breaking the credit doom loop is about a trade. The fleeting thrill of a purchase, a trend, or pure sheep impulse maybe, for the permanent power of sovereignty, to fund your future instead of your past. Ultimately, you decide whether you'll be your own leader. If this resonated with you, I hope you give this a like. Otherwise, you can share with whomever you believe needs to hear it. Remember, you can subscribe to The Wealth Explorer for more unvarnished truths. I hope to see you again in the next journey.